Welcome to What's the Word podcast. My name is Dennis Flores, and today I'm here with Jalen Godet. Today we are diving into the journey that brought him to where he is now. We will explore the steps that took him there, the obstacles he's faced along the way, and the lessons he learned through his struggles. Plus, at the end, he'll be sharing some valuable advice for anyone considering or currently navigating a similar path. Let's get into it. Just to speak a little more about Jalen Godet, he was a college student athlete.
I was actually your teammate just last year.
Indeed. He has 18 years of experience in baseball under his belt. He was also a 2022 to 2023 MVP of the Lincoln University baseball program.
Not bad.
He's a health science student of the year from 2023 to 2024. He has a bachelor's degree in science, in health science to be specific. He has 5 years of experience in coaching. He's also a personal trainer. He's actually currently the assistant coach of Lincoln University baseball program.
I am
Went
one of
from
your
a teammate to a program. He's also a psychotherapist from 2023 to 2024. He streams currently on Twitch. I'll link it below. He's also, and lastly, probably the most importantly, robbed a home run in Fenway Park.
A lot of people don't believe me when I say this. Like, oh, what? You were never on the Red Sox? Or I'm like, yeah, but I played in Fenway before, and that was a hell of an experience.
So, the first question we got to start off with, what's the word? What's something motivational that can help anyone out there just listening currently?
Advice. One thing I'd probably say off rip is take every day one step at a time. Don't add any pressure onto yourself that you don't have, and just take life one step at a time. Nobody knows what the future holds. The past is already behind you. Stay in the present and keep moving.
I'll mess with that. I've been trying to learn that myself, actually. Especially bringing it into baseball as well. Definitely trying to learn that myself. So now let's get a little deeper into more of your career path. Take us back to the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
The beginning. Whoa, now I really feel old. Okay. 22 years ago at birth, I'm joking. Baseball started for me just before I turned 4, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a problem child until about 10 or 11, maybe 13, but baseball was kind of like my way out, and I didn't know it was my way out until like my dad really talked to me and explained it all, because again, I was a problem child when I was younger, got into a lot of trouble, wasn't looking good in school, acted a fool, did anything just to be seen, basically. And I didn't realize what it was doing to me until I got to like 13, 14, where I had a couple of my professors actually come talk to me personally about it. Because they knew, like, hey, you're a bright student, but you're kind of off the walls. Mm-hmm. So when I was 4, my dad was just, 3 turning into 4, my dad was just putting me into a bunch of things. So I've tried karate, tennis, bowling, like anything you could think of. And baseball was kind of like the one thing that he did, and I don't know why it was one of the last options, because my sister was also playing baseball at the time, and my dad was the coach, so I was kind of confused. And now I'm thinking back, like, I was kind of confused why that wasn't the first option, but as soon as it happened, I grasped onto it, and I loved every second of it. I think probably because, I could take my anger out on something else, that's not a person, swing the bat a little bit, hit a baseball, and yeah, that's kind of grown into where I'm at now, coaching. I was a player for 16, 17 years. Got to play next to you last year alongside. And now I'm coaching and personal training all at the same time. And it's not originally the first thing that I thought I was going to end up doing, but it is fun.
So take us a little more deeper into that health science. Did you kind of always know you wanted to do that? Or was it more like you were figuring it out along the way? Because I know you said there was a switch around 13 that, you started taking life serious. And if I had to guess, middle child, because you're the problem child.
You know what's crazy I am?
You are?
I actually am, by a minute, to be exact.
By a minute?
Yeah, so I got my older sister, my twin sister, then it's me, my little sister, and my little brother. So I'm actually, my twin sister is older than me by a minute, so I'm actually the middle child by a minute, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I am a middle child, and I'm not gonna lie, I forgot the question, because that kind of just sat in my head for
I got you. For health science, you got your bachelor's in it. Was it just from the beginning you knew?
Health science and a lot of the things that I'm actually going to talk about today weren't my first option at all. Now, did I know what my first option was? No. Because there was always a bunch of stuff going around in my head. Like, I thought about psychology for a little bit. I was always somewhat creative and like hands-on stuff, so science was always something that I wanted to dive deep into. Didn't know it was going to be health science. Respectfully, I thought I was going to be out there, gardening for a living, because, that I enjoy plant life. I enjoy aquatic life. I enjoy life. Anything that lives and breathes, I enjoy.
Gotcha.
So, science was always my thing. I didn't think health science was going to be my thing because of all the different parts of the body and the injuries and the blood types. And I didn't think that that's what I wanted to do. But I think from my not even just my college career, my career as a whole, since I've been injured so much, and I think that's what really sparked it, is all the injuries I had. I was kind of just I'm tired of going to the doctor. If I hurt my knee, I want to know why my knee hurts and how I can fix it.
Gotcha.
So health science was just the first thing that people started talking to me about. Was well, health science is broad, so you can really go into a bunch of different careers with this, and all of them ties into exactly what you're looking for. And Lincoln was just, I actually know, what's her name? Dr. Nelson. Dr. Nelson and me, she's actually the head of the science department for Lincoln right now. I'm not going to say we go way back, but I knew her during my freshman year. I talked to her a little bit because health science was what I wanted to go into. And she kind of just gave me a rundown of this is what it's going to be, and the intro class is going to be the hardest. The rest of them are going to be fun, and I'm not going to say they're easy, but you're going to be intrigued. You're going to want to know more, and everything that she kind of said was spot on. And after my first year, even though, like she said, the intro course was the hardest course I've taken, she was just like, Jay, I'm proud of you, man. You graduated on time. You got everything you needed. You're one of the smartest people I know now, and I'm kind of happy that I did. And I actually use her as a mentor now as well when it comes to anything, whether it's life in general. I talk to her about my fish, my nice little aquatic collection all the time. She always asks about baseball since I was one of her favorites. She always asks about baseball, how we're doing. She always asks about the players. And she always recommends me around campus, and I didn't even know that until 2 months ago. So I actually have a presentation that I'm doing in 2 weeks. First week of April I'm doing it. And I'm going to one of our classes, basically explaining, kind of like the same thing I'm doing right now, explaining my career path, how Lincoln has helped me towards my career path, and if I have any words of advice for anybody else.
I got you. That's actually tough to have a connection like that and just build it. And her actually be true to her word that the intro is going to be the hardest.
Told me off rip, that's the hardest course. If you can get past that, it's smooth sailing.
So do you feel like you had a moment, at least in Lincoln, if not even further, where you just felt like maybe health science wasn't for me? Maybe you feel like you were starting to give up on it? If so, how did you push through it?
So, I'm happy because I actually mentioned the intro course. The intro course is probably where I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Because it wasn't necessarily that what's the word I'm thinking of? It wasn't necessarily that the curriculum was hard or the information was hard. It was so much all at the same time. I'm talking a chapter a day of a 36 chapter textbook, and you got to make sure you know this because there's a test on every Friday, and
Sounds like the worst.
Now that I'm looking at the time, I was like, yo, this class sucks. Oh my God, what is this professor on? What is she doing? And now I look back at it and I'm kind of like, all right, Dr. Hilton knew what she was doing. Because that kind of set us up for the rest of the classes. Because almost everything that we learned of those 36 chapters, because I remember reading every single one of them, it broke down to another class. So if you understood each of those chapters, you understood an entire class.
That's crazy.
So if you understood chapter 2 and 3, you understood psychology. You understood chapter 8 and 9, you understood biology or anatomy. So literally after going through that class, everything else just was so much easier. Because don't get me wrong, we did cram a lot of information. But if you understood the information and you passed that class, you were smooth sailing for the rest of the time. But I think that intro class where I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And I kind of talked to my mom a little bit, and actually talked to my twin sister a lot because she's also into that health science study as well. She was an AT, she has her outfitter training degree, which I actually didn't know. Why am I drawing? She was an EMT. That's what she was an EMT. So she drove around the ambulance. She was one of the first responders she worked there in Manhattan and a little bit in Brooklyn. She's one of the first responders in the area because that area was not the greatest. But, it wasn't the greatest.
Could be argued.
But she has about 6 years now under her belt for health science experience, and she's actually just going back to school again last year to get her degree again.
Hey, shout out to mom.
I talked to her. Yeah, I talked to my mom and my sister a lot about, hey, is this something I really want to go into? Am I going to stay confident in it, or am I going to keep feeling the way I'm feeling about it, or is a flip just going to switch and I'm going to be fine? Mm-hmm. And they talked me through a lot. As much as I probably don't say this enough, love my mom. Like I tell her that. I don't tell her that enough, respectfully. And she's kind of just helped me through everything I've gone through, whether it was emotionally, mentally, financially, physically. Like, she's always the first option. No hate to my dad. That's my pop. Yeah, that's my pops. I love my pops, but my mom is always one of those first people I talk to about anything going on. Like, even sometimes before my twin sister, and that's my rock.
So now, you involved all of them. Now this question is going to be a little harder, but
okay.
Has there been any mentors or role models that have played a big role in your journey, or even just like directed you into the right way?
So I think I'm not going to talk a lot on them, only because I mentioned it already. So Dr. Nelson, 100% health science, head of the health science department. She's been a big piece for me at Lincoln. My mom, just in general, big piece in general. My twin sister, in general, big piece. My older sister, I've actually talked to her more about my emotional side. And she's been extremely helpful in that side of me getting to where I'm at now as a person. But I think one of the biggest people that I haven't mentioned yet is probably my travel coach. From when I was playing baseball, I played with him since I was 14 to just before I turned 18 that fall. And take that back, because I played with him when I was 19 as well, just because I didn't have anywhere to play. So I played with him, give or take 5-6 years. Yeah. And he took me in when I was 14. I was just trying to find a new home. It was actually right after the year where I was getting more baseball. So I was on a team. I was on a travel team, and it was basically like the all-star team, a bunch of really good guys on the same, just thrown together on the same team during the summer to play. And the coach was very vile with his words, and he kind of just said what he had to say off his mind, didn't care what anybody had to say, and he always punished us during the game. If you made one error, it was, dang, you're in outfield. Any outfield, get to the outfield. If you didn't do good in the outfield, you're on the bench for the rest of the week. It wasn't like you could mess up and that was it. And he had his favorites, blatant favorites. He was trying to talk to one of the players' moms, so you understand that he was playing every game. It don't matter it doesn't matter how good or bad he was playing every single game. Mm-hmm. So he was one of those coaches where I look back and I'm like, if I didn't experience that, I don't think I'd be where I was. I don't think I'd be where I am today. Because it took that roadblock to be is this really what I want to do? And I can tell that I was pulling away because my dad, he's never asked me this before. He hasn't asked me that. He's only asked me this once. And he only asked me that in that one moment that I had where I was almost giving up on baseball. He's never asked me that in my life other than that. And that's where I kind of was is this really what I want to do? He was hey Jay, you don't have to play baseball. If you want to do something else, just let me know. You sure you want to play baseball? Sure this is what you want to do? And I was just why is he asking me that?
It was crazy time and type of thing.
Yeah, I was why is he asking me? Can he read minds? Is he good? But then I had to really sit back and think dang, that really took a toll on me. A big toll on me. And I was I've been doing this for 10 years now, 10, 11 years now. Am I really going to give up now? And I talked I didn't really talk to anybody about that except for my friends at school. And they were man, you're the best baseball player I know. You're going to be the next Jeter. And then I was you know what? I can't let y'all down. Now I got something to keep pushing for. And from that moment on, I was damn, don't ever ask me that again. This is what I want to do. Don't ever ask me that again. And I'm glad that he did because I'm here where I'm at now. I'm in a good place now.
So you went from doubt to standing on business.
I went to doubt to standing on business.
I feel you, yeah. So is there one lesson that you feel you almost in a sense wish you knew earlier that just prepared you a little too late sometimes?
That is a really good question. I think one thing, and this can go back to life in general, one thing that I'd advise everybody to do, whether you think you have the chance or not, if you have the help, use it. It doesn't matter what the help is for. It doesn't matter what the help is. If you have help for any situation that you're in, use it. It took me way too long to just take that in and figure it out. Because I relate that. The easiest thing for me to relate back to this is financially. Because, respectfully, as being a college student, it's not easy. You don't really have much of an income as a college student until you're out of school. So winter break, summer break, exactly. Like, you don't really have that big financial break as a student. So financially, I struggled. 100% I struggled. And I'm the type of person where I don't like taking money. Like, even if they offer it, I've had people offer me money. Here, just hold on to it, please. Just take it, because I feel like it. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to take your money, even though you're saying that I don't owe you anything. I still have that grief. Like, I'm gonna, like, if they ask me for $50 tomorrow, I gotta give them money because they just gave me money. So I don't like to really take anybody's money, even my parents. And I've told them that straight to their face, like, please try to, like, refrain from offering money, because, like, if I'm struggling, I want to figure out my own. Unless it gets to that point where I can't. And it was my mom that was, again, my mom. My Dukes, man. I'm love you, my Dukes. I don't say it enough. But she was one of those people that was just like, Jay, like, I'm here. If you're struggling, ask. Ask for whatever you need. She was like, I don't care if I gotta drive to you personally and give you whatever you need. Ask for it. She was like, I'll drop $100 to send something your way to the house in Pennsylvania. I'll drop whatever I gotta do to come meet you somewhere. Like, just ask. If you have help, use the help, man, because you never know when the help's gonna go away. You never know when the help's gonna go away. You never know when you're gonna lose it. So if you have help, take the help. Don't abuse the help, but use the help to not necessarily to your advantage, but use it as long as you have it. Because again, it's not gonna stay there forever.
So with the next question, I know a little more than Daniel, but I really need you to talk a little more on it, because I know you had some tough times, some dark patches and all that. When things get stressful, how do you take that step back? How do you, rewind? How do you just recharge yourself to keep battling through those tough times?
So I'll actually give like a personal experience, and it's actually a lot easier for me to speak on because I was a psychotherapist myself at Lincoln. I was about 8 months. And I think from that, it allowed me to just tell my story without getting emotional. Like, break it down a little bit, because it's crazy, because I'm a health science major and we studied PTSD. But while I was doing it, I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, there's no way somebody can experience that. Like, there's no way like a snap can happen. Somebody just like pulls a switch, like just to flip the switch, and they're like right back to whatever that moment was. I was like, there's no way that can happen. Until I experienced it myself, and I'm like, whoa, okay, maybe what I was reading made sense. Maybe those 36 chapters knew what they were talking about. But
chapter a day.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was crazy times. But so I actually, again, 2022 was probably the worst year I've lived through it as a person. Like, in my 22 years of life, that was probably my worst year. I've witnessed one of my. Let me not call him like a real close friend. He's one of those people that I knew him just around campus. Like, he's like, those high and by people on campus. But before I was a student athlete, because I wasn't a student athlete until my fourth semester. So my spring of my sophomore year was my first athletic year. My first athletic sophomore semester. Right, I'm bugging.
Because you were a COVID kid, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So coming in, they weren't really looking for any freshmen. If you weren't already committed or you weren't already recruited, they weren't looking for anybody new, because all the seniors got that extra year back. So one of my guys, I used to play ball with him every Wednesday and Thursday. I went to the wellness from like 5 to 8, just hooping with some of the guys on the football team, some of the guys on the basketball team, and he was somebody that was just really good. Everybody knew him on campus. All the girls knew him, all the guys knew him, all the professors knew him. So like it took a toll when what happened to him happened. And it's kind of crazy that, brother man lost his life, but I kind of witnessed the entire thing all at once. And that took a huge emotional toll on me. Like, I had to go into isolation, and at one point I was put into witness protection program. And yeah, because they didn't know who did it. It was just kind of like, basically like a hit and run.
Yeah.
And it took me some time to, recoup and figure everything out. But I think after a while, talking to certain people, it's kind of just like, all right, Jay, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. And I think the easiest thing that I did in those moments was talk to people. Like you just gotta find your people. You gotta find your people.
You use the resources.
Exactly. You gotta use the help that you got, man. I'm not saying that, everybody is somebody that you have to talk to, because not everybody is gonna take that information and keep it wholehearted like they're supposed to. You got those people that are gonna try to gossip about it. You got those people that are gonna laugh about it, or, oh, Jay, you're just joking. Because I did have those people when I was just trying to go through it, and I think that's probably what affected me the most, is that some of the people I was trying to talk to didn't believe me. And it was my roommate and one of his close friends that became one of my close friends now. I talked to them a lot about it, and it was after that whole isolation period. I went through the isolation period for a week and a half. I isolated myself from my friends, my roommates, people I knew from high school that went there, professors. I didn't go to class. I isolated myself from the baseball team. I just went to straight isolation. I was just finding different spots on campus and just disappeared and just let out all the emotion. I was sitting there crying day by day, just letting everything out.
No, that's crazy, because sometimes it's such a dark place, but it's needed though.
Yes,
and I can't grow without it.
That's exactly what I was about to get at. I think that moments like those, not saying that they're good, but I'm not saying that they're bad. I think I said that, I came up with what I said to some team the other day. That was everybody has their canon event. You remember from Spider-Man? Everybody has their canon event that's going to change them into the person that they're supposed to be in society. And I think that was probably one of mine. And again, 2022 is bad as home. I lost my mans. Javon, rest up, brother. I actually, my ex cheated on me, broke up with me once I got back to school.
So you couldn't catch a break. Couldn't catch a break.
I went through an extremely stressful period where I actually got diagnosed with 2 different types of depression. I lost hair. I had a huge bald spot right in the middle of my head that I kind of tried to cover up. I didn't realize it until my mom mentioned it. She was like, "Why are you wearing hoods all the time? And why do you always have a hat on?" And she's like, "You never do that." And I'm like, "Oh, maybe that is that. Maybe that is the reason." And yeah, all that happened, and again, I think it made me who I am today. Now I'm emotionally strong. I'm not gonna say physically strong, because I still got some nicks and bruises, but emotionally and mentally, I'm a lot stronger than I was before. And I think that's something I had to go through, whether I realized it or not at the time. That's something I had to go through to get to where I'm at now.
Well, definitely props to you. I know you've had your tough battles, but you still here, you smiling every day. Especially as a coach, I'll be seeing him walk in. And as a player, he was the energy in the dugout every time. But as a coach, he took it to another level for real. Just working with him one-on-one sometimes he's really the energy when it comes into practices that are down. So
Thank you.
Definitely.
I pride myself in trying to stay happy, because I think one thing that I pride myself on is just walking around with a smile. It doesn't hurt to smile. That's what I tell a lot of people all the time. But I've had Dom ask me before, I've had Miggy ask me before, I've had Solo, even though Solo's kind of the same way. Why are you always happy? I was I'm not necessarily saying that I'm always happy. Even there's days where I walk in and I'm mad. I'm mad. But it doesn't hurt to smile.
Yeah.
So I feel like me walking in with a smile enlightens everybody else that sees me. So that's just kind of my motto. I just walk in with a smile, walk in with a purpose.
That's tough. I can't. So now just a little more. What's next for you? Any big projects in the process? Loading up? Any big steps about to be taken?
Now, the main project that I have in my mind, you just asked that, took a year back now. So now instead of 3 years, it's 4 years. And it does come with me leaving Lincoln. But my little brother is, I didn't even know they do this, but my little brother is top 50 in his class in the nation for baseball.
Hey, he's 10.
He's 13.
Okay.
Well, 14 now.
And they do that at that young age?
I didn't know they do that.
That's tough.
He's turning 14 this year. So he's been invited out to Houston for minority baseball events. He's been invited out to Miami to play, and he's played at the Disney So you know ESPN is Disney, right?
Yeah.
He's been invited to the ESPN Classics that they have down there to go play on their big like turf field.
Yo, that's tough. He really about to be the new next Jeter.
He's been doing that since like he was like 9, 10. And again, I didn't know that was a thing. Like he was like, he posted something on Instagram. I was like, you have it. I was like, not to shade, bro, but you got Instagram? Oh, talk about that real quick. That was like last year, 2 years ago. And just like towards the end of last year, it was like in August, he got invited. It was like, yeah, top 50 players. He got invited to a minority baseball tournament. He was like, yeah, sent him an invite through email, sent him an invite through the mail. Hey, we want you here. You're a top 50. We see you as a top 50 player in your class. Can you come? I was like, into that one. I was playing baseball. Like now, I'm like, wait. I remember when I was 13, I was still playing in-house. I was still playing with the local kids, and I was like, you over here going to Houston, Texas.
That's tough.
I was like, oh, you big time. Okay. And then my mom, she be trying to give me props and everything, but I'm like, I don't see it. But then when she explains it, I'm like, all right, maybe I do see it. And it's actually hilarious with my little brother because he literally mirrors everything I do, and it took me like 3-4 years to understand that. Like, you really gotta watch what you do because not that I was doing anything bad, but it's like you really gotta watch what you do because his eyes are always watching. So he's a righty, throws righty, catches righty, but he swings left. And people question that a lot, like, oh, why did he do that? Because when he was 2 years old and he picked the bat for the first time, he would mirror my stance. So I'm a righty, he would be standing directly in front of me trying to do exactly what I was doing. So naturally, that's just been his swing. Lefty's been his swing. And again, it took me a while to realize that because my mom would like show me pictures and everything and videos of his games, and I was like, oh, I'm like, yo, you had videos of me when I was 13. My mom was like, that's your brother. That's not you. That's not you. Dang, you was taking you. I was like, dang, your iPhone had photos when I was 9. Like what? That's not you. That's not you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing his family before, they all look the same.
Yeah,
like there's no joke behind that. Like they all look the same. It's crazy.
So literally, like going through that, I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm his role model. I was like, he watches baseball like a lot more than he did before, like way more than he did before. But he's not one of those guys that like fanboys about like meeting players, because he's just like the best player I know lives in the same house. Like that's like the mentality he holds, and he told my mom about that, and he actually had projects in like middle school and elementary school where he had to write about like his favorite athlete or his favorite person. And I kid you not, I got a stack like this thick. Everything that he wrote was about me.
That's tough.
Everything he wrote was about me.
No, that's tough.
I have like this laminated essay that he wrote. It was like one of his first essays in 3rd grade. It was like 3-4 sentences. Like, yeah. But yeah, it was like he literally wrote, "Hey, my big brother is my idol, and I look up to him every day. He's off right now in high school playing baseball at this school, and he's one of the best on his team, and I wish to be him one day." And I'm just like, that's me? Like, you talking to me about that? Wow, I'm not gonna lie, looking at that the first time, I was a little emotional. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I take that into account. Like, Jay, lock in. Like, don't even do it for you anymore. Do it for him. Because my injury history is pretty long. So I was like, at one point, I kind of knew, like, Jay, you might have to hang up the cleats at one point. And every time I had an injury, I was like, it's coming sooner than later. Like, just weather through the storm as long as you can. And, like, watching him play and everything, I'm like, yeah, like, there's something I like. Like, there's something. So, back to the original question, which was, like, my plans. He is my plans. So, whatever he needs from me, that's what I'm going to do. My original plan for him is, again, it got pushed back a year, because actually now he's going to a school called Eaglebrook in Massachusetts. It's a 2-year high school type thing where he has to reclass up. He has to do 8th grade again and then do 9th grade. But they're one of those schools in Massachusetts where they showcase you in front of all the different colleges in the area. I'm like, in 9th grade you're doing that? Yeah. In 9th grade, they're showcasing you in front of all the colleges in the area, all the colleges up and down the Northeast.
Nah, they getting too advanced with this.
And they pay tuition because it's a private school, and they threw a fat chunk of change at him to come play. So I ain't knocking that decision for my parents.
He's working hard for it.
I am not knocking that decision. So my plan originally was when in his junior year, in either late junior year into the summer of his senior year, I was going to let him do the college process. I was going to be his personal trainer, not necessarily his head coach because he has one.
Of course,
but I was going to be his coach at home, his personal trainer, whatever he needed from me. If he needed recovery work, I'm there for him. If he needed extra work at the practice, I'm there for him. If he needed someone to talk to, I'm there. If he needed an adjustment from something, I'm there. I was like, whatever he needs, I'm there. On top of the fact that I was basically going to be his advisor. Like looking over schools, doing research. Hey, is this something that you like? What are you into? What are you going to do when you get to college? Is your mind just set on baseball, or are you actually looking to get an actual degree, or just like something to just be like a filler so that you can get where you want to be in baseball? And no knock to my parents, but because don't get me wrong, COVID was like 70% of the issue for my college process. But I didn't talk to them enough about what I wanted, and I think even at a young age, it's hard to talk to your parents about like serious things. Like it becomes really hard just to like mention certain things to them, and talk to them wholeheartedly, and really say what's on your mind without like criticism or like pushback. So, and I can see that in him. Like he doesn't necessarily fear my parents because he's real cool. He be joking around with them all the time, like just casual. Like he's low key taking my spot for the funniest person in the family, like low key. But
because you haven't been home.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling them. I'm telling them that. Like,
because you haven't been home.
I'm not home. I'm gonna claim my title again. I'm gonna claim it. But yeah, like I didn't know until again, like my parents told me like that's you're his title. And so, and it comes to anything. Like I'll tell you anything, school related, personal related. I said, man, you like a girl at school. Come holler at me, bro. Come holler at me. Come talk to me. Talk to me about it. Whatever you got to talk about. Now he got a phone. He be blowing on my phone all the time. Whether it's I'm gonna whoop you in MLB the show, or Jay, can we talk about this, and that? I'll go because there's not really like since there's 7 of us. There's not really like one spot in the house where you can just disappear to, except the basement. And I think everybody in the house has feared the basement at one point. So yeah, everybody feared the basement until like I went down there and made that my space where everybody's kind of like, all right, I can go down there. Jay's down there, I can go down there. And I tell them all the time, if you have something really personal that you want to talk about, go right in that basement, go right in the back room where I'll be at, and just say whatever you gotta say. I said, whether you want to leave me a voice message, or you want to call and talk about it, FaceTime talk about it, whatever you gotta talk about, man. I said, if I don't pick up the phone, I said eventually I will. I said, the only time I probably won't pick up the phone for you is if I'm working. It's probably the only time. I said, even if I'm working, I'll probably still pick up the phone. So my grandmother definitely called me during that game, yes, and I was like, yo, what you doing? I'm working. She was like, oh, I see you in your shades. And I was like, all right. I'm not trying to get into a conversation. I'll call you when the game's over.
The last little question I got for you is if there's something that you can give, or one singular piece of advice to someone that's going down that similar path, or that's had some type of connections, something similar where it's gone through a dark time, now they're in a better time, but they're still trying to focus out and still get everything through while doing certain things. What would it be?
And it's crazy because, like, thinking back about certain things, especially, like, again, I didn't believe in a lot of things I was studying, which is crazy that I continue studying if I didn't believe it. But, word of advice. Because I think that there's a lot of people in this world that have similar struggles and tough times that they're working out, that a lot of people will look at and be like, they're just lying, or they're just going through the motions. But a lot of people can relate to it. Like, I compare, like, artists, like music artists. Like, they go through a lot. They sing about their stuff, and a lot of people, like, relate to it. So I think that a word of advice that I probably give, and I'm going to repeat these two because I think these two are my favorites. If you have help, use it. And if you have help, use it, and take everything one step at a time. Leave the past in the past. You learn from the past for a reason. The future, nobody knows what the future holds. Just stay in the present and move with it. But I think other than that, I'd probably say if you are dealing with stress, find something that works for you. The same thing doesn't work for everybody. Me personally, I was somebody where, and I didn't really learn this until I went through 2022. I'm somebody that I can't keep like stress bottled up. I can't keep it bottled up. So my way out was talking to somebody, whether it was just like being dead serious, like this is what I'm going through. Can you just talk me through this? What are your thoughts on it? Or it was me talking to my cousin and just like trying to joke my way out of whatever I was dealing with. Just laugh, just get a laugh about it.
Yeah.
And I think because again I'm a health science major, stress is not good. stress. But there's a lot. There are good stressors like a surprise or an energetic stress. Like you on the mound, run on first and third, 2 outs, strike 3. That's stress. People don't see that as stress, but that's like people say I call it energy. But that's like mental and physical stress. Like I gotta make this pitch. I gotta make this pitch. I gotta make this pitch. And when you finally do it, that's like that adrenaline that flows your body. That's good stress. Like yeah, I just did that. But that negative stress a lot of people deal with, just find what you gotta deal with. Again, everybody deals with stress. A lot of people say I'm stressed out or I'm dealing with this, and people will be like, man, you just a wimp, man. Like, man, come on, man, that's nothing, man. I do it worse. And there's a lot of people that say stuff like that, like, oh, well, I've been through worse, so you're not really doing anything. Oh, I'm doing this, or I had 2-3 hours of sleep, and I'm still here, or I'm dealing with this issue and that issue all at the same time. You're crying because you can't get homework done, or like I've had people like that in my life that I've just been like that, like agonizing. But any stress that you're dealing with, whether how big or small, there's always a way out. Don't think that anything and all these harmful backup plans that a lot of people go through is the way out. There's always a positive way out, whether you see one or not. You can always go talk to somebody. You can always go find somebody to, have a laugh with. And I think the easiest way to get rid of stress is to stay with people that you love.
I respect that.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on the first episode of
I appreciate
What's the Word podcast. I'm glad to have you as the first guest. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, follow, subscribe, do anything to support as we are trying to build a community here. Stay locked in for future episodes as we'll bring more guests to share their journeys and vibe with us. And until next time,